guess if you were to ask me what ChinesePod is, I suppose it's a combination of two things. It's trying to use the best technology that we can possibly find, and I think the internet offers some really great tools, and to try to get those tools, to use those tools, and to put them together with the best methodology that we can possibly find. And by that combination, to come up with something that's different and has some pretty unique features. What are the unique features? Well, I think the podcasting medium is just, by the very nature of it, it's got lots of really interesting features. It's time shifted, right? So you're not depending on a time that you have to be in class. It's portable. It's yours. Portable. You can take it, and it's yours. And I think that's another important point. It's your property. Once you download it with a Creative Commons license, essentially it's your property, and you can take it where you want. So I think this stuff is so basic that sometimes people don't understand how fundamental it is. So I think from the user end, hopefully, it really is something different. And all the, what we're constantly trying to do is to leverage the tools that we can find on the internet. And if you look at the post-network era, after, let's say, 2002, when I say the post-network era, I mean the era after the network, we could say, exists. I mean, there's 1 billion people connected now. And I think that what's happening is, the question is happening now, we're all connected, what are we going to do with this? But one of the really interesting things to me is that it seems that people's first instinct is to communicate. I mean, look at all the tools that we've seen in the last 2 to 3 years, that, all these Web 2 tools or whatever they are, from podcasting and RSS and the whole thing, and all of these, well, most of them share one thing in common, and that is that they connect people, they help people to communicate. So I think that's been a major influence for us. So on one hand you have the technology, now as I said, the second part is the methodology. Now, any methodology, I think, has to start with the end in mind. In other words, you have to know more or less who you're talking to, who your students are, and what their problem is. You have to know, in other words, whose problem are you trying to solve? And I think the methodology has to emerge from that. Now, I've been in the classroom for 20 years. I've got some ideas about what I think, this kind of teaching should involve, but I don't know it all. And I think most teachers their style of teaching tends to reflect their own style of learning. And so I've become very aware of that, more so through ChinesePod than ever in the past, because we've got a very big classroom of somewhere in the region of 120,000 people are regularly using ChinesePod at the moment, and it's growing actually very, very rapidly. So, you're constantly getting feedback, you're constantly having to reassess your own ideas about how learning happens. And we approach it from the perspective that, for myself, I've got 20 years of experience, I've got some strong ideas that I believe in, but there's still, I won't force them upon people. And a lot of people have read on the blog, I think, about my views on things, but we still try to leave it open. We still try to say, look, this is the best that we know. This is, in our experience as a group, this is what we think makes the most sense. And then we fire it out there, and we get the various reactions. And I hope that that flexibility, combined with the technology, has created something new, something different. And